The third thing, this is kind of where I jumped in. This tweet should be posted and saved and laminated and put in the Smithsonian. This is a real beauty. So, our friend here, by the way, just a little side tangent. If you wanted to start a YouTube channel, you could literally just follow people like this, and there's, another 100 of them out there, but you could just unpack what they're saying. Every day you could make a new video. It's just an endless stream of content. It's, realistically, I don't think there would be much end to it. You just see something like this, you'd go, boom, that's gold. I'm going to make a video. You could basically start a really good, popular YouTube channel just breaking down why these people don't know what they're talking about. But let's go through this one, because this is the one where I was like, all right, dude, I have to say something. Another feature of short UVX, UVXY, VXX, self-de-risking. Interesting. Tell me more. They constantly roll exposure from the front VIX future to the second month. Right after expiration, they're 100% in the first month. Maximum sensitivity to VIX moves. Some of you in the comments probably know where this is going. As the month progresses, they shift into month 2, gradually reducing sensitivity to VIX spikes. And he wanted to announce it in a megaphone that he doesn't trade. So he actually provided this cool little chart where, of course, at the start of the month, high VIX sensitivity, mid-month, moderate sensitivity, end of the month, low sensitivity. So again, there's probably a few of you in the comments that are thinking, well, this is crazy. And that's exactly what I thought. So let me just explain this quickly. And what I want to say, first of all, is you don't have to know this stuff, right? I'm not making fun of anybody who doesn't know how this works. I'm only saying if there's a person out there representing themselves as an expert, not knowing this stuff, like this tweet, this right here, to me, is the equivalent of somebody being on Twitter trying to pretend that they're a Harvard graduate lawyer and not knowing what a plaintiff or defendant is. Like, that's how bad this is. This is a person saying they have a PhD in engineering from MIT and they don't know what mass is. Like, this is how bad it is when you're actually trying to represent yourself as a professional. But let's just talk about, these are the VIX futures going back to 2004. And let's just highlight, this is a full cycle. Let's highlight this in a color so we can see this clearer. There we go. This is a full cycle. What happens with the VIX futures? It is not what that person is saying. Essentially, at the end of this month, this future disappears. At the start of the next month, it is 100% in the front month and 0% in the back month. Okay, so that's how it starts the cycle. And you can see it has a 1 month exposure to the VIX futures because this is 1 month away. Now, what happens at the end of the month? Well, at the end of the month, it is 100% in the second future and 0% in the front future. Okay, now notice what this means. This means that this exposure is still 30 days away. It's the same as the exposure here. Now, the punchline is in the middle of the month, this one has about half exposure with 2 weeks to go, and this one has about half exposure with 6 weeks to go. What is the average of 2 weeks and 6 weeks? You guessed it, 1 month. Turns out, of course, the entire month, basically every day, in this example, it's 5%. It's not always the same. It's different based on how many days to expiration, but every day it sells a little bit of this one and it buys a little bit of this one. And what that means is, over time, it is a constant 30-day, 1 month, exactly identical exposure to the VIX futures the entire time. That's the point of the volatility ETF in the first place. Not only does he not know how they work, he doesn't know why they were built. Again, this is like I was saying, this is like a person saying that they're a computer science expert and they don't know what email is. It's just like the most egregious mistake. But the volatility, imagine if you were to buy a VIX future 30 days out, just a straight up VIX future. That changes the exposure the closer you get to the expiration date. 30 days out, it's not as sensitive, right? Because the market moves, it's less sensitive. 10 days out, 5 days out, 1 day out, the delta and the gamma go through the roof. They're very ultra sensitive to that move. So people thought, well, we're going to design VIX futures that actually roll through the cycle. And that is what stops it from having a dynamic changing exposure to sensitivity of the VIX. It is a constant 30-day exposure all the time. every day previous, every day in the future, forever. It is a 1 month rolling exposure, totally smooth. That is the entire reason the ETFs were built in the first place. So it's not like a VIX trader, an option trader who has dynamic gamma that's changing over time. Quite literally, we're designed because it's not like this. This is a person, like I said, with a bullhorn saying, I don't know what this is. When there's a UVXY, forget about profitable trades, forget about risk management, forget about position sizing. Not even knowing what it is or why it was built in the first place, that is egregious. So this is where I jumped in. I'm just like, come on, I have to say something. So I'm like, why are you giving trade ideas? You have no idea how these products work. It's a 30-day constant maturity. What the hell are you talking about self-de-risking? Exactly. This post made it probably 1 minute. I think 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes. And then I was blocked. So that's the whole point of these guru frauds out there, is that once somebody exposes them, the move is to just block. I would imagine if you looked at his block list, it would be an insane list. But essentially, hopefully people learned a few things here about asymmetric risk and why we don't do these types of things. Short UVXY and leave it alone. Sure, if you're the type of trader that thinks it's a good idea to risk all of your money to make 2% a year. If you're the type of trader that thinks that sounds good, then Z Contrarian is your guy. The dumbest option trade imaginable. Again, if you're the type of trader that looks at this and says, you know what, the price is here, I might make $500 if it goes to there. And sure, once every 5 years, I'll lose $50,000. I'll lose 80 to 100 times my money. But man, that would be pretty sweet if I could get that $500 there. If you're the type of person who thinks that's a good idea, this is your guy. And then, of course, the third one doesn't know what a vol ETP is. This one was a real gut kick. This is like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like I said, this is a person claiming to be an economics PhD that doesn't know what supply and demand means. It's just whatever job you do. I don't know what all of you in the comment section do for a living, but there's just certain basic low-hanging fruit things that every single person who's actually in that profession, they just know inherently. This is one of those things. For anybody who trades the volatility ETPs, again, I'm not saying the people in the comments have to know, the complexities of how this all works. It's actually kind of difficult. I'm talking about people who are saying that they are expert traders. For those people, this is just a screaming admission that it is paper trading only. That's all it's just engagement farming. Be very, very careful who you follow on social media. Like I said, especially now. Now would be a very good time for people to be like, okay, if I was doing reckless, stupid shit, if I was listening to these people talking about selling naked calls, and maybe you've gotten away with it for 10 years, maybe you've even made money doing it for 10 years, please, I implore you, there is a point when the market is going to start reflecting the risk that is out there. And that is the last time you want to be doing this types of thing. Because when people sell those extremes, that's essentially what they're doing. They're selling the wings and they're collecting the premiums based on the fact that most of the time it works. And that's why the short volatility community itself is so dangerous. That's why it's so toxic. That's why I'm going through this. I don't do this type of thing. I don't flame other people. I'm doing this because it's necessary. I'm trying to save people from doing these terrible things. But the reason that it works so well, and the reason that these people can develop a following is because of that asymmetry. It really does work most of the time. If you just do this with short vol, 80 or 90% of the time, you are going to make money. And it's going to lull people to sleep. They're going to forget about risk management. They're going to think, well, I've had 5-month streak here. This is the easiest thing in the world. It's an ATM machine. I'm just printing money over here. That's when it's going to get you. You're going to lose 50 times your money in 4 days. That's how it happens. So again, if you've gotten away with it thus far, okay, great. We'll give you a pass. You didn't really know what you were doing. But now more than ever, no naked options, defined risk trades only, small position sizing. Understand that something terrible could happen here to this market. We are long overdue already. So you have been warned. Unfortunately, I am blocked from this person. So it's not like him or his community is ever going to see any of this. But Mr. at Z Contrarian 1, you, sir, are quite clearly a paper trading rookie. There is no possibility that you said those things on Twitter and it's coming from experience. Zero. It couldn't happen. It's like I said, there's certain things that people in an industry should know, just the most introductory things. If you're a lawyer that doesn't know what a plaintiff is, sorry, you didn't pass the bar exam. That's what that means. So please heed my warnings. I was doing this in 2017. I was getting very aggressive on Twitter. I was warning people that something bad is going to happen. Everybody's shorting volatility. Everybody thinks this is the easiest thing in the world. I've been telling everybody it's not. It's just asymmetric. The risk can hide itself for many years, and then it'll just jump out at you. And now you're Captain Condor. Now you're optionsellers.com. It's going to happen. We're going to hear these horror stories again. And unfortunately, my email inbox is going to fill up with these people saying that. So please follow those standard rules. Don't pick up pennies in front of the steamroller.